When a Walgreens leaves a neighborhood, they disrupt the entire community, and they take with them baby formula, diapers, asthma inhalers, life-saving medications, and of course, jobs. These closures are not arbitrary, and they are not innocent. They are life-threatening acts of racial and economic discrimination.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Ayanna Pressley, a Democratic House rep from Massachusetts, a member of the squad, right alongside Jamal Bowman, who pulled the fire alarm, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, AOC, and all the rest of them. She is blaming the closure of a Walgreens in her area on racism. Now, this is ridiculous because this particular Walgreens has been racked by theft for a very long time. And at a certain point, a business cannot stay operational with that kind of thing going on. It doesn't matter who's in the neighborhood. It could be black, white, Puerto Rican, candy stripe. It does not matter. If you're having theft to the point of looting on a semi-regular basis, then what are we doing? At a certain point, we got to cut our losses and go a different direction. Now, Ms. Pressley is not alone in her criticism of the Walgreens closing. Now, I don't know how you're going to criticize it like some kind of public service. Like I said, it's a business, but she's not alone in her resentment toward the Walgreens closing. Now, we're going to get to that in a minute, but first, let's hear her speech a little bit more from the beginning. Let's hear some more of that. Then we're going to get to some local NAACP people. Oh yeah, it got to that level because this idea of racism being behind the closure is a really popular thing out there. And if you want to see this and the other clip, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Mr. Speaker, Walgreens is planning to close yet another pharmacy in the Massachusetts 7th, this time on Warren Street in Roxbury, a community that is 85% Black and Latino. This closure is a part of a larger trend of abandoning low-income communities like the previous closures in Mattapan and Hyde Park, both in the Massachusetts 7th. When a Walgreens leaves a neighborhood, they disrupt the entire community, and they take with them baby formula, diapers, asthma inhalers, life-saving medications, and of course, jobs.
Let's pause right here. Now, is it their duty, responsibility to stay in a place? Do they have to stay open? This is not a public service. This is a business. And if this business cannot make money, if they cannot even ensure the safety of their staff, then why must they stay? They should be able to leave for whatever the reason. They could be profitable and safe and say, you know what, okay, we're going to close. That's their prerogative, unless you want to get into communism where the government steps in and they force the business to operate. They force them to stay in the place. But last I checked, we live in a free country, but maybe that's changing in the near future. Hopefully not, but maybe that is Miss Ayanna Pressley's plan, but I digress.
These closures are not arbitrary, and they are not innocent. They are life-threatening acts of racial and economic discrimination. That is why I joined with Senator Markey and Warren to demand answers from Walgreens CEO. Why was there no community input, no adequate notice to customers, and no transition resources to prevent gaps in health care? Shame on you, Walgreens. Having a website with talking points about health equity and underserved communities is not enough. Walgreens is a multi-billion-dollar corporation that needs to put their money where their mouth is and stop divesting from Black and brown communities.
Well, look, maybe they could invest more into quote unquote Black and brown communities if not for all the theft and the crime and the violence or whatnot that happens at some of their locations. Not just at Walgreens over there in Roxbury, Boston, that area in Massachusetts, but all over the country. I covered a story of a CVS out there in Northwest Washington, D.C. experiencing the same problems. And then some of the same complaints came as a result. But what is the CVS to do when as soon as a supply truck pulls up to the store, it's getting robbed by the local teens out there? What are they to do? What is their alternative? Just stay open and lose money and get robbed every other Tuesday? This is ridiculous. And by the way, as a side note, I want to give Miss Pressley a compliment. That bald head is so clean. My. I wish I can get my bald head that clean. I wonder what kind of product she's using. Is it alopecia that's doing that or what? But different story. I digress. Now let's get to a news clip because this made the news out there in Boston, Massachusetts. And you're going to see some local NAACP in the community and whatnot who are talking about the closure of this Walgreens. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Fourth Walgreens is now closing in Boston in a predominantly black and Latino neighborhood. And
the fourth Walgreens closing? Well, hey, man, what are you going to do?
Neighbors who rely on that pharmacy are furious.
As WBZ's Tiffany Chan shows us, they say it's more than just an inconvenience.
The store shelves are empty and the signs are up, alerting customers that this Roxbury Walgreens will be closed for good at the end of the month.
How are they supposed to go get their medicine?
It's sparking concern and outrage from residents who rely.
So they have these signs that say H no Walgreens. I can't see the rest of it, but obviously they're upset.
On the Warren Street drugstore in this predominantly black neighborhood.
What happens to our seniors and our single parents that have no way to get to a Walgreens or another pharmacy anywhere near their home? And so we think it's insensitive, it's unjust.
Reverend Miniard Culpepper points to the senior housing developments just steps from the Walgreens and questions how the elderly will get their medications, especially after the pharmacy chain closed their stores in Hyde Park, Nubian Square, and Mattapan about a year ago. Walgreens says they're downsizing, but the Reverend calls it nothing short of corporate greed. Why do you think they target black and brown communities?
I think because they get no pushback, but they're now getting pushback.
Protesting.
Wait, is that the reason? Like, what's the actual reason? Can they address the elephant in the room? I have addressed it. Ayanna Pressley did not address it. Mr. Reverend did not address it. So far, this news broadcast has not addressed it. The elephant in the room is the crime, the theft. They are constantly getting robbed over and over. That's why they're closing. And I'm pretty sure the other stores close as well. It doesn't matter what color the people are who visit the Walgreens. That's irrelevant. Do you make money? Are you able to maintain a business in an area? Are you getting robbed every other day? That's the question you got to ask.
Alongside dozens of other frustrated customers fighting to keep this Walgreens open.
Don't we need to have something in the community to help the black, the elderly, the sick? You know what I'm saying? They can't go far.
The problem boils down to accessibility, says former Boston NAACP president turned healthcare advocate Michael Curry.
The communities where they're closing these pharmacies are communities where people are disparately impacted by disease, 2 or 3 times higher rates in cancer, diabetes, heart disease. Well,
look, you got to talk to the teens in your community and tell them to stop robbing the place, tell them to stop looting the place so the place can stay there. If they are not informed of the importance of the Walgreens and they don't take steps to keep it there, then they're not going to be there. And as simple as that, there's nothing else. All this, oh, well, we got a lot of problems and they're insensitive. They're not a public service. This is not some government entity. This is a private business. Maybe you need to highlight a free clinic in your area to get what you need rather than relying on a private business that needs to make a profit and who cannot make a profit when they're constantly being stolen from.
Expectancy can be 15, 20 years less.
While this isn't the only Walgreens or pharmacy chain set to close location in the coming weeks, Curry says it begs this question.
What is your obligation? What is your expectation as a corporate?
Ain't no obligation. Obligation is to make money. Obligation is to our shareholders. We're a private company. Okay. Now, if we can come to your community and provide you with a good place to get your medication and get other little convenient items, then great. But if we can't, then it is what it is. That's not our responsibility or our duty or our obligation. That's not how it works. We're not in communism quite yet in this country.
Citizen to do what's right for those communities beyond what's right just for your bottom line.
And in the spirit of fighting, members of the community planned a rally outside of this Walgreens on Friday, January 12th, in hopes of sparking some change, hoping that this pharmacy is here to stay.
So there we go. That's what's happening out there in Boston, Massachusetts. But, it's pretty simple. I mean, just stop stealing. Stop stealing from the place. Stop robbing it, and then maybe it'll stay there. That news broadcast didn't cover it. Ayanna Pressley didn't cover it, but that's why I'm here to cover it. That's why it's closing. So if you're living out there in the area of Boston and you're wondering why the Walgreens is closing, first of all, you know what's going on if you live there. You know about the crime and the violence. You know how dangerous it is where you live. Roxbury. I heard about Roxbury for a long time. Isn't that where Bobby Brown is from in New Edition? I know about that particular neighborhood of Boston, but as I close, I want to say this. This business is a private business. They have no responsibility to you as just people. I mean, that's not what they're, look, they are in the business of business. Now, if you want responsibility, if you want public service, then go talk to your local government because you pay taxes. So therefore, they have a responsibility to provide you with services from your tax money. But that's it and that's all. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your opinion about the Walgreens closing in Boston? Is it insensitive? Is it the wrong thing to do? Is it the right thing to do? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This is really simple. I mean, you got crime and violence. That's why the store is closing. If not for the crime and violence, especially the crime, the robbery, the theft, the loss of money, if not for that, then the store would stay. If the store was in a safe place and they're making a bunch of money, why would they close? It benefits them and it benefits you. It needs to be mutually beneficial. It can't just be a one-way street where the consumer benefits from having a nearby pharmacy. They can pick up the medicine and get little convenient items, but then the store makes no money. They're constantly in the red and they're just hemorrhaging cash for what? It helps the people that live there, but not the actual business itself. And ultimately, it needs to be a two-way street, not just a one-sided take without giving anything in return. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that is all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.